Hey there, welcome to the latest episode of the Sexy Thyroid Solution. I'm your host, Angela Brown. So we're going to talk today about what can cause an underactive thyroid. But first, if you could do me a very big favor, if you're watching this on YouTube, if you could subscribe to my channel and then hit that bell so you get a notification every Thursday when I release a new video. And then if you're watching this on my other social channels, share this with someone, like this, get this out to other people who need this information. That would help me. So let's start talking about this. This is a subject that I like to talk a lot about because when I was struggling with my slow thyroid, and let me tell you, I had a pretty drastically slow thyroid. When I was struggling so bad with it, I was never told that there were things that I was actually doing or things happening to my body that were actually slowing my thyroid down. Instead, I was just thrown on medication. The medication was just pretty much a Band-Aid. But I was never told all the things that could actually be slowing my thyroid down. Something else to also consider, you don't need to have a diagnosis of hypothyroidism to actually have a slow thyroid. And this is what I started realizing when I got certified in functional medicine. I started noticing that, whoa, there are actually a lot of things that can slow your thyroid down that you're not being told. It's not being talked about. And it does not have to show up on a blood panel. So typically you get diagnosed with hypothyroidism when your TSH is really elevated. TSH is your thyroid stimulating hormone. And unfortunately, if that is the only thing they're checking and it looks totally normal, you're told your thyroid's normal, when in reality, it probably is not, especially if you're having all these symptoms. And this is what I started realizing, especially when I started doing the lab work that I do with my one-on-one clients. What I started seeing was, wow, all these lab work, all the lab results are coming back that I'm doing, and it shows a completely different picture than what the doctor is telling them. Sometimes I can correlate it to the blood panel, and sometimes not. So like I said, you don't have to have a diagnosis of hypothyroidism or Hashimoto's for that matter to actually have a slow thyroid. So I wanted to talk about that. What are the things that could be slowing your thyroid down that you can change? So first and foremost, stress is a huge one. I talk about this incessantly with my clients. Stress has to be managed. And one of the big reasons is think about how your adrenal glands and your thyroid and your sex hormones, they all interplay. So they're like a triangle. So you have them all interacting with each other. So if one is off, the other one's going to be off more than likely. The thyroid usually is one that always ends up paying the price, especially when you have chronic stress. Stress releases cortisol. That's your natural way that your body tries to attack stress, is it's going to release cortisol. Unfortunately, when cortisol keeps getting released like that, it will eventually affect the thyroid. And the way that it does this is it will affect the conversion of your inactive thyroid hormone, which is T4, to your active thyroid hormone, which is T3. And a lot of times, not only does that happen, it doesn't let the conversion happen, but it actually sends it backwards. It reverts the T3, your active thyroid hormone, back to something called reverse T3. That's not active, it's inactive. So people feel really crappy. And that's why when people get really stressed out, all of a sudden they're like, man, I'm gaining weight. My fatigue is through the roof. My hair's falling out, because your thyroid is actually being slowed down because of this chronic stress. Also think about foods that you're eating. If you're eating really, really poor quality food, it's a stressor on the body. It can also create gut inflammation, all these things, which we're going to talk about gut health here in a little bit. But that's a stressor on the body. So if you're eating things like gluten, even soy, dairy can sometimes really affect people with a slow thyroid. Processed food, sugar, those things are all inflammatory for your body, and it will tell the thyroid to slow down because your body doesn't like it. Also think about your sleep. If you're not getting enough sleep, that is your rest and repair time. You have to have a good amount of sleep. It's your rest and repair time. It's when the adrenals are supposed to kind of chill the heck out, so they can start to replenish. Everything kind of gets nourished and everything at night. So you got to give your body that time. You got to give it sleep. So if you are purposefully or not even purposefully, if you're only getting a couple hours of sleep, it's not going to help your thyroid at all. So you definitely have to figure out a way what's causing the sleep issues. And then, which I hone in on that with my testing that I do as well. We really look at if someone's having sleep issues, what's making their sleep issues, what's happening. Because that is your time, your thyroid needs that. What's your liver health like? So most of the thyroid hormone conversion that I was talking about earlier, most of it happens in the liver. If you have a really, really sluggish liver, pretty hard to help with thyroid hormone conversion. And so that's why I have a whole module in my program that my clients that work with me one-on-one, my Sexy Thyroid Solution program, literally a whole module just on detoxification, because it is so, so important to have good liver health, because that's where the majority of your thyroid hormone conversion is happening, in the liver. So if it's bogged down, if it's sluggish, because you have too many toxins coming in, you're not nourishing it with good foods and things like that, it's going to affect thyroid hormone conversion. I have seen people where just the detoxification was the main issue, and all they needed to do was switch out products they were using, really get their liver health going with a few supplements that were short-term, things like that, and all of a sudden their thyroid was working. So it is pretty incredible how much the liver affects it. And then gut health. So gut health is big for a few reasons. One, another big portion of thyroid hormone conversion actually happens in the gut. So the liver, I said, does a lot. The gut does some as well. It does like 20-ish%. So that's a large percent of thyroid hormone conversion. So you need that working properly. So if the gut is really, really ticked off, it's going to be hard to have that conversion happen. Also consider that when you have a lot of gut inflammation, it will decrease that conversion even worse. So if your gut flora is off, that's going to affect it. If you have something like a parasite, bacteria, candida, things like that, if that's going on in the stomach, that is not going to help with thyroid hormone conversion. Anything going on in the stomach like that's going to affect it. It's very, very common with hypothyroidism too, to have something called leaky gut. Really common to have something called leaky gut. And unfortunately, that again creates inflammation. And if you have something like Hashimoto's, which is the autoimmune side of hypothyroidism, it's really common to have something like leaky gut, because there's this autoimmune response and inflammatory response, and it just feeds off of it. So the hypothyroidism could be causing some of the gut issues, and the gut issues could be causing some of the issues creating hypothyroidism. It works both ways. So you attack it either way, it doesn't really matter. You attack the gut health regardless. It has to be addressed. So those are just a few of the things. There's obviously a lot of other reasons, but that's some of the ones that I really want to talk about. Those are some things that I feel like you can maybe start working on and control yourself, what you can change with those things. It can be a really big factor for boosting your thyroid health. So if you have any questions with that, you know where to find me. Let me know. Reach out if you have more questions with any of that stuff. And let me know too, what if you've struggled with your thyroid health, what is one of your favorite ways? What is something that you've found really helps you for nourishing your thyroid health, even your adrenal health, just to make your body feel healthy? What's one of your favorite ways? I would love to know what that is. I have my own list that I love too, so I'd love to know yours. And I hope you enjoyed this video. I will chat with you guys on the next video. Bye.